Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I wanted to talk to you about the copycat and how the copycat works when they're trying to play you, because they're trying to always look like they got the squeaky clean mask, so they got to wear your energy. So let's jump in. So the copycat is the individual that steals your identity. What they do is when they go through the cycle of trauma bonding you in the love bomb phase toward the end, and they teach you how to treat them by treating you the way they want to be treated in the very beginning. First, they are infatuated, and while they're infatuated with you, this is what the dark energy does. It causes them to enjoy this part of the love bomb phase, even though they're put in work, because they have to lie a lot and fit in and catch your vibration and run off it. And while they're doing that, with the infatuation, they kind of get into it. They think they're in love, but they're infatuated. And they love bomb you. Love bombing you is when they serve you. They think you're the best thing since sliced bread. They talk you up and tell you how happy they are to be with you, and they are attached to your hip for a few weeks. And during that few weeks, they are treating you really well. It's almost like they're worshiping you, and you end up, because you're somebody who likes to give equal reciprocity, you start to feel like you have to give them more, and you really do like them or the idea of them. So with that, you engage back with the same energy. And it's genuine, because a lot of times the narcissist and the empath or the unawoke super empath is going to be, they're very much connected in the very beginning. I mean, they are a strong energy. It's almost on a telepathy type level. And in the very beginning, but then shortly thereafter, what they're doing is they're teaching you how to treat them, is what the dark energy is really doing, whether they know it or not, because they're in control of the narcissist. So they're getting you to worship them. And they quit doing all the stuff they did good for you, but you continue to pour into them. That's how they teach you how to treat them. And that's how they become the copycat. They get you into your emotional field, and then they start to hijack it, because you're not thinking as much objectively, or you're thinking more from an emotional state of mind, which is more fleshly, than an objective state of mind, which is more logical. The narcissist thinks more on a logic side. They don't really deal with any good emotions. They only deal with hate and anger and sabotage and kickback, revenge, jealousy. They project upon you everything that they're doing and everything that they are. And in the background, they start to smear your name up, even while things are still going well in the relationship, because they know that it's a preemptive war on you. So they start talking kind of bad about you in a passive way, so it sounds realistic. Like, he really talks down about me, but I care about him, and I'm going to stick it out. And they'll say stuff like that, like they really like you to their friends, but you're a drag and you got issues, and they'll just continue to perpetuate this kind of story in the background, so that when they do finally discard you, they can really smear you up, because they got all this intimate information that you have told them in the time when you felt you could put trust in them, and they were asking you all these questions, data mining you. Some people have more skeletons in the closet than others. That's for each person to decide. But nevertheless, if there's not skeletons in the closet, they'll make them up, and they'll smear you with made up stories, because what they do then, they take your emotional field and they switch it with you. So when you're pouring your heart out, trying to explain things to them, when you are being projected upon and you take it as guilt and you apologize for stuff you didn't do, or you get reactive with them, they get you in a reactive state called reactive abuse, to where you're like, no, I really cared about you, and you're just pouring your heart out. Every time you do that, you're switching energy with them, and you're getting their negative energy, you're accepting it, or you're getting it thrown on you. Sometimes it acts as a pressure gradient, but it's also on your state of what you will accept and what you won't in the spirit. It's kind of like a covenant contract and a consent. Just being in a relationship with an evildoer is going to hurt you, and consent to you accepting some of their negative energy. Then when you accept it through some of these times when you're trying to explain yourself, over-explain yourself, because you feel like they don't understand, or they're missing some parts to their brain, they're playing you, or there's something else in control of them. And they're doing these things on purpose so that they can absorb your energy and that you start to absorb theirs and they start to convince you that you're them. I mean, they try to, depending on what your level of consciousness is. So then when they leave you, they start smearing your name and your self-worth, but it's everything they did to you is what they're saying you did to them. And because now you flip so much energy with them and they've been mimicking you and imitating you in the background, your mannerisms, your thought patterns, your ways of thinking, the way you present yourself, maybe partially the way that you dress, they may take on some of these features, even if they're the opposite sex. It's weird. And basically what they're doing is they're smearing their own self, but you're wearing their energy now. So it does look like you are the bad person because you're wearing their energy. So energy speaks for itself. It's almost as if it speaks as much as actions do, or at least secondarily to actions, because it almost is an action itself. So now you're wearing their aura. So it's very believable, and they're wearing yours. So they're all in your happiness energy or your genuine energy, but they're wearing your genuine energy. So you look like the copycat, but they're really copycatting and wearing a better version of themselves, which is you. So what happens, especially when you leave them? God will sometimes hand you the blueprint. He will give you the codes to the blueprint. He will help you to understand how to back yourself out of this and how to live in a right, truthful manner, in a just manner, in the purest state that you can, in a way that you're passionate about things. And if you understand, like I did, covenants, contracts, consents, understanding, walking in complete truth as much as possible, having strong ironclad boundaries and loving yourself. These are some of the key points that will give you authority in life and not to be controlled or taken down by the enemy, because God will protect you. You also have to have emotional stability. You have to have balance in your life and think logically, head thinking first. When God hands you the blueprint, he gives you the code to the blueprint. And if you take heed, what you'll find is people will look for anything to disqualify you. When God calls you, you can't be disqualified, y'all. Digging up the past versions of who you used to be and trying to use them. But that's old news, y'all. They'll assassinate your character in front of everybody you love and everyone you thought loved you, meaning them. They didn't love you. And everybody you might have thought loved you or cared about you, start believing them. And then you know who really cares and who doesn't. So they'll assassinate everything about you. Given enough time and patience, you'll realize the same people tell on themselves. The narcissist speaks backwards, and always remember that. Everything they do is backwards from goodness. So what they're doing is telling on themselves. What they tell you, always take the opposite. If they love you, they hate you. If they care, they don't care. If they want to give you something, they're not giving you nothing, they're taking. When you're sick, you think they're going to help you? No, they're going to run away. They can never give equal reciprocity, period. The narcissist speaks backwards. What they tell you, always take the opposite. Just as the enemy in the Bible is opposite of goodness, so the narcissist is opposite of life, humanity, and goodness. What's fascinating is people who do this are just outing themselves. The shame that they are projecting onto you to make you feel a certain sort of way is actually how they feel about themselves. That's who they are. That's what they think in their mind and they know in their heart is true about them, about themselves. When you're the blueprint, you have the ability to swim far below all of the troubled storm and also to ascend high above that storm of lies and manipulations that the enemy will come at you through the narcissist. The traps and the ensnarements from the enemy, they won't be able to touch you, y'all. The dexterity that you carry in-house, housed inside you, it outmatches them. You're unlike any other. You're the only version of its kind, authentic and true, and you don't find that very often. If you get to this place, you'll become very strong. You have this flexibility that frustrates your enemy because they can't get you caught up because you are the truth. And when you have the truth housed in you and you are expressing in your personality, in your aura, in your energy, everything, just the truth, in your authentic person, your authentic body, it's very frustrating to the enemy because you were born to be a code breaker. They can't get you caught up because you were born to be a code breaker, born to expand neural pathways. You're someone, these overlays, these false programs, They hate that they can't stop you. And every time they try, they catch another case. They ensnare themselves more. They hate. They hate the truth you are. You cut like a knife when you speak and walk the truth in your true authenticity. And it stirs them up. They don't like it. People watch you because they distrust you. But they distrust you because they distrust themselves. You see, you are so okay with your balance. And in your balance, you are in harmony. And they can't stand it. They're outmatched, revealing how shallow their true alchemy abilities are. By their shallow narratives that they devise are bland and archaic and outdated. On a certain level, it gets embarrassing for these people. They show you how truly mad they are. Their words reveal all about their frustrations, lying not with you, but deep within themselves, how inadequate they feel, and the best they can do is lie about you because they think it's going to elevate them. Everyone knows they're a lie, a fake, a manipulator, and a copycat. Wanting to have others see you as them, as they can try to impersonate living your life. But the copy is not the original, y'all. It's not the only one. You're the only one when you become truth. You become the blueprint. You see it in my energy, and you can't imitate that energetic field because that's what's authentic to me, and that's what comes from truth, from walking in it and being in true authenticity in your life. It just will exude from you. Their only power ever was being able to twist it out of your hands. Let them talk because they can't. They can talk, but they will never receive any of my power, any of your power when you walk in truth. They look for you in your old places, and what they find is a how-to manual for themselves with a kiss from you because you did the work. And they didn't, and probably never will, because they're lazy and they'd rather steal than put in work. They don't labor. They don't toil for the greater accomplishment. They'd rather scheme, steal, manipulate, curse, copycat, and try to fling their negative energy on people instead of doing the hard thing, asking for forgiveness and apologizing. They can never do that. That's why the narcissist a lot of times will never come back to you after a certain point when you reach your authentic truth, because it's not your job to apologize for them anymore. And you know that. It's their apology, and it needs to walk towards you. And they don't have the guts, y'all. They can never apologize. That's why you'll never see them. Now, they'll kick up rocks and kick up dust from behind the scenes. They'll throw rocks and hide. They'll try to get you by proxy around the corner or through their flying monkeys or somewhere else. But they're not going to come to you eye to eye, face to face. They're afraid. They're afraid of the truth. They can't handle the truth, y'all. So if you can give me a like, subscription, and a thumbs up, that's what they do. They'll copycat you and turn themselves into you. And that's why they have to come back and cycle over and over with you, because when you recover your energy, that's why they stalk you, because when your energy gets filled back up, after you did a 3 or 4 month cycle with them, they go to a couple of cheesy supply sources and get worn down. They want that good fuel, y'all. And when they see that, it'll usually take you, 6 months to a year to get that energy replenished, because they really knock you down. They're coming right back. Cycle 2, cycle 3, cycle 4, cycle 5. That's what they want to do. And that's what they try to accomplish. They want to keep their pipeline full of supply sources, just like those best kind, but they're not easy to find. And a lot of times what they do is they get their moral integrity is so far knocked down, it makes it harder and harder to find good sources because they're so far away from the plateau that those good sources would live on, because they have no morals, ethics, no values. So what they do is they get more and more grimy. That's why a lot of times you'll find a narcissist, and at some point they'll end up on the streets. They'll be street people. And that's because they allowed themselves to spiritually and ethically and morally and their values to get so grimy and low, they could never get a good source of supply again. You're walking karma when they meet you, because you come out of left field, and when they think they destroyed you, you come turning around that corner in an unorthodox fashion, and you crumble them all the way down to the ground. Thank you for watching.